Hello friend, this is your 500 liter vacuum emulsifying mixer with water tank and oil tank, and now I will introduce how to use this machine. And then first, when you receive the machine, you should assemble each part like this now, because we will dismantle the machine when we have the shipment. And then after the assemble, you should connect to your factory power. Open this electric box here, and then you may track inside. Here we have L1, L2, L3 wire, these 3 wires, and then this is the neutral wire and ground wire. You should connect this wire and then open here. And then on here you can also track there are many wires here, and then you should connect these wires according to the same number. You can see here 10 to 10, 11 to 11, 12 to 12. You should connect these wires according to the same number here. And then you should track this is the Siemens components and the Schneider components here. Bell C. And then here is also the Siemens. Okay. And then you can, the machine is working now. And then let's track the back side. Here you may track this one is the water inlet, and this one is the water outlet. For the water inlet, this valve you should keep open all the time, because when you use this machine, we need the water comes in. And then this one is the water outlet. And then let's check inside of the machine. Here you can see the pipe direction. And then you can see this is the vacuum pump. When you use the vacuum function, you need to make sure that there has water comes in. And then you can see here is also the transparent pipe. This transparent pipe is to use to cooling the homogenizer mechanical seal, because when you use the machine, the homogenizer will spin and then it will getting hot. So you need the transparent pipe to have the cooling water to cooling down the mechanical seal. And then it's for the heating. Let's go to the front side to check. Here is you can see the transparent pipe here for cooling down the mechanical seal. And then for the heating, you can see there has the 2 heating rows of this 500 liter tank. So when you use the heating function, you should make sure that there is full water inside the jacket. That means here. So the first step, you should turn on this valve, and then let the water comes out into the jacket. And then when the water comes out from here, from the water outlets, that means that this tank's jacket is full of water. So you can turn off this valve. Don't let the water go inside to the jacket again. So make sure that this jacket is full of water, then you can use the heating function. Okay, and then let's check the main tank design. Here is the main tank, 500 liter. And then down here is the homogenizer. And then this is the discharge outlet. If you're finished your product production, you can open this valve by manual and then connect to your storage tank. And then the finished product will transfer to the storage tank. And then here is the pipes. Here is the pipes connect. And then let's see the mixing type design. Here is the bi-directional mixing with Teflon scraper. And then here, let's check the homogenizer. Here is the homogenizer. And this one is the temperature probe. You can check this one is the temperature probe. And then the homogenizer is ABB motor. And then there are two buttons of bumping function and the reset function. Okay, and then let's check the cover accessories of this tank. As you can see, here is the manhole. You can check the materials inside the tank clearly by spin this scraper and then remove the mist. You can check inside. And then this one is the pressure gauge of the tank. You can see this is the pressure gauge, have the digital number to show you the pressure. And then this is the vacuum valve to use the vacuum function. And then here is the material inlet. You can see we equip you the soft pipe to stop the materials from this water tank and oil tank. And then for this one is the ingredient hopper. You can add some ingredients when you use the machine. And then for this one is the breathing parts of the machine. When you finish the vacuum function, you can use these breathing parts to release the vacuum. And then this one is the LED lights. You can open these lights so you can check the material inside the tank clearly. And then for this one is the CIP spray ball. You can connect a soft pipe to your water source and then let the pure water come inside the tank to clean the tank. And then this is the cover accessories of the tank. And then let's check this one is the water tank. Here we have the bottom disperser to mixing the materials inside this water tank. And then this is the oil tank of the machine. You can check we also equip the bottom disperser. And for these two tanks, design is half open lid to for you to conveniently put the materials inside. Then for this one is to add the oil inside the tank so you can use the heating function. And then also you can see the disperser here. We also equip the ABB motor and two electric heating rods for each tank. And then you can also see this one is the temperature probe. And this one also equipped the temperature probe here. And for this pipe here, you can check this is the wastewater out pipe. You can discharge the wastewater from here. Okay, and then we can check the PLC screen. Here we have the button to show the machine's situation, and then this is the alarm. Will make some noise when you use the machine like the hydraulic up and down. And this is the emergency stop button. When the machine occurs some problems, you can spin it and then stop the whole machine. And then this one is the PLC screen. It's a Siemens brand. And then let's check the screen. There have two languages you can choose. We can choose English for reference. And then this is the main port monitoring for the main tank machine. And then let's check this one is the mixing function. You can set the speed here. Like we want the 45 speed. Can put on it, and then this is the maximum speed you can select and then push here. Then we can set the speed, and then this is the actual speed displays, the actual current display. And then this is the time setting here for a minute. Like you can set the 2 minutes and then put here. And then this is the remaining time of the missing function. And then when the time is arrived to 2 minutes, like we just said, the missing function here will stop automatically. And then the same for the treble homogenizer. You can set the speed for the homogenizer like 1,500, and the maximum speed is 3,000. You can set here, and then the actual speed, actual current of the homogenizer to display, and then the time setting here. You can also set like 1 minute for reference, and then this on and off for the mixing and homogenizing function. And it's the same when the homogenizing speed, the homogenizing time arrives to 1 minute, like we just said, the homogenizing function will stop automatically. And then for this is the heating function. This is the actual temperature display here now is 24.4 degrees Celsius. And the heating temperature we can set here. Like if we want the 70 degrees, set here. You can see the, and then this is the temperature calibration. When you found that the temperature is different for what you set and what you test, you can choose this temperature calibration to adjust the temperature so that make it the same. And then this is the on and off of the heating function. And then you can see here is for the vacuum function, the actual pressure here displays, and then the pressure up limit is now the, we can set like minus, minus 85, like here. And then the pressure lower limit can also select like minus 65, for example. And then this is for the vacuum pump start and stop. Okay, and then you can see this is the main diagrams of the whole machine, the temperature display, and then this is the vacuum pressure display, and then this has the damping function and reset function here, and then the hydraulic up and down, start and stop, and hydraulic down, start and stop, and the work lights, that means the LED lights, turn on and turn off. Okay, and then let's check the oil water pot monitoring page. You can see here is a time setting. Can set like 1 minute for oil pot, 2 minutes for water pot, for example, and then this is the remaining time to display when you use the disperse function, and then this is the turn on and turn off function of the disperser, and then when the time is arrived to what we set like here, the disperser function will stop automatically, and then this is the temperature function. Here we display the actual temperature for the oil pots and water pots, and then you can set the temperature like here for the oil pots like 65 for reference, water pots like 75 for reference, and then this is the temperature calibration to adjust the temperature just like the main tank, and then this is the turn on and turn off function of the oil pots and water pots, and you can see the diagram from here have the actual temperature display here. Then this is the backup use function. Then let's check the temperature trend. You can check the temperature trend when you use the heating function. It will display different lines to show you the temperature here, and then you can use these buttons to check the temperature trend. And then for this is the alarm inquiry. You can see the detailed alarm test from here. You can have the date, time, status, and alarm test to show you the problems of the machine, and then when you solve the problems, you can push this reset button to reset the alarm inquiries. Okay, and this go back to the home page. Okay, and then we can test the home machine, choose the English language, and then we can turn on the work lights here, turn off, now it's turned on, and we can check the here. You can check clearly of the material inside the tank through this manhole. And then let's test the vacuum function. Here, we have just set the upper limits and lower limits of the pressure. And then let's check the cover accessories here. This is the vacuum valve. And then for the other valves, you should turn off. For this manhole, you should turn off by here, here and here. And then this is the material inlet. Turn off, turn off. This turn off, and turn off all the other valves. And then you should open the vacuum valve here, and then you should turn on the vacuum pump function through here. Start the function. Then you can check the vacuum function. Now the pressure is changing. You can check by the pressure gauge, or you can also check by the here have the actual pressure. Also display the actual pressure. Just like here. You also see the numbers is changing. And when the pressure up limit is arrived to what we set like -85, the vacuum pressure function will stop automatically. And then when the actual pressure is arrived to the -65 kPa like we just said, the vacuum function will restart. Now the pressure is keep changing. Okay, now the pressure up limits is arrived to what we said, like the -85 here. Okay, if you want to remain this actual pressure, you should push this vacuum pump stop, and then turn off this valve. The vacuum valve turn off, and then to make the pressure remain on this number. Then we can use this material inlet to suck the materials from the oil tank here. Turn on this valve. You can see the materials will go through to the main tank here. And then I can check inside. Okay. Then you can turn off it. Then for the water tank, you can also suck the materials. You can see the water go through the pipe. Then for the manhole, you can check. Okay, now we can turn off it. Okay, and then you can see the pressure gauge will change because we just use this material filter, material inlet to suck the materials. And then if we want to release the vacuum from here, you can use these breathing pods, but first you should make sure all the other valves are closed. Here you may check this valve is closed. Scrubber is also closed too. And for the vacuum valve closed too. Okay, and then we can use the breathing pods to release the vacuum. And then you can check the pressure gauge is changing to release the vacuum. Okay, now the vacuum inside the tank is all released. Then you may also check from PLC screen here. Okay, and then we can turn off the breathing pot. Okay, and then we can test the heating function. We have also set the heating temperature 70 degrees Celsius, but when we start to use the heating function, we should make sure that this jacket is full of water. So let's review it. When you use the heating function, turn on this valve, let the water come inside to the jacket here, and then when the water comes out from here, it means that the jacket is full of water, so you can use the heating function. We have just tested it, so now we can directly open the heating function through here. And then you can hear the sound, so now the heating function is turned on. And then it will take some time to let the temperature goes up, so now we can turn off manually. But if the temperature arrives to the 70 degrees Celsius like we just set, the heating function will stop automatically. Okay, now we turn off it manually. Okay, now we can test the missing function. And now we have just set the speed like 45 and the time like 2 minutes. You can just turn on the missing function, but we should confirm that whether it stays around the main tank. You can check here. You should confirm that it's safe so you can use the missing function, like here, yes. Then you can check the missing function is working. Okay, and like we just said, when the time is arrived to what we said, the missing function will stop automatically. Now we can stop manually, like here. Turn off it. And then the missing function is turned off. And then let's test the homogenizing function. Here we just set the speed and time, and then we can directly open it. Turn on, and then confirm it's safe. Then you can check the homogenizing function is working. Okay, now we can turn off it, but it's the same like the missing function. If the time is arrived to what we said, it will stop automatically. Okay. Now it's turned off. And now we can test the hydraulic up function here. Turn on, and then make sure that it's safe to go up. Then you may check now the tank is hydraulic up. Set the diagram is changing. If the alarms will make noise to let you know that you are operating the tank. Okay, now the cover is hydraulic up to the top. When the hydraulic up is go to the top, the hydraulic up function will stop automatically. And now let's test the dumping function of the main tank. Here we have the buttons for the dumping and reset. Now let's test it. Now the tank is dumping. Okay, and then reset the tank. And the tank is reset. And then you can also control by the PLC screen, like here. Okay. And then reset the tank. Okay, and then we can test the hydraulic down function. But you should make sure that when you hydraulic up and then you dumping the tank, you should make sure that this tank has reset completely. That means that this tank is in the correct place. So you can use the hydraulic down function. You can open this. Make sure that it's safe and then the tank is in the correct place. And then you can see here.
completely hydraulic tank.
Okay, and then let's test the oil pulse and water pulse dispersing function. Like we have just set the time so we just correctly open it. And you can check the water pulse disperser. And this is the oil pulse disperser. And then when the time is arrived to what we set, it will stop automatically. Now let's stop manually. Okay, and then the dispersing function is stopped. Okay, and for the heating function, because we did not add the transport oil into the oil pulse and water pulse, so we will not test the heating function of these two tanks. And this is the end of the introduction of the 500-liter vacuum emulsifying mixers. Thank you.